What's the smallest 5G phone you can get for your money? Well, let's check out the Unihertz Jelly Max. All right, my Jelly Max arrived a few days ago in the mail. I'm looking forward to opening this up and giving a little bit of review for all out there. This is the newest phone that Unihertz had a Kickstarter for. It costs a couple $100s, a little bit more than that if you pay for it early. If you pay for it now, it's probably $350-ish USD, which is still a great deal for what it is. And it should have much, much better specs than what the Jelly Star had in a slightly larger form factor. So if you're all ready, let's check this out. All right, this is the Unihertz Jelly Max. I'll give a small show of the hardware before I start digging deeper into the software. Up here is a small speaker for when you're doing phone calls. No speaker on the bottom. I believe the pin on the bottom is a mic. There's also a small pinhole on the top. The other larger one is AR. There's no headphone jack. And unfortunately, with the loss of the headphone jack, it wasn't made waterproof, so you want to be careful with this, similar to the Jelly Star. On the back, the actual speakers are right here. These are relatively nice, and what's the best part about these speakers is usually when your phone is facing up, it has some kind of surface behind it, and it'll bounce the audio back at you. So you get relatively nice audio. Regular camera, telephoto, flash, fingerprint reader, and then when you take it out of the case, which is relatively thick, similar to the Jelly Star, there's the NFC chart and then the charging right here. You should be able to charge using this coil, I believe. The fingerprint reader works well, in my opinion, especially if you have the case on. It can help you to align it. It has snappy performance, and the screen is relatively nice. And if you're going to take a phone call, it's going to look something like this. It's not too small or not too large. Thickness actually makes it very easy to grip. I like that. Similarly to the Jelly Star, it's almost like this is two phones stacked on top of each other in width. Like if you had a flip phone, it feels about as thick as that, except it's not a flip phone. Okay, so this is the converter from USB to a headphone jack. This is included with the Jelly Max. Let's see how well it works. I have a set of headphones right here, iPhone knockoffs from Amazon. Turn on the phone, let's plug it in. We get a warning. Analog audio accessory detected. The attached device is not compatible with this phone. Tap to learn more. All right, let's play some audio. Now the audio is still coming through the headphones, so it does apparently work. I can put these up to my mic. Yeah, so it does work, even though there's an error. I've also found that this converter doesn't work on macOS. All right, so another point I want to make is I have the programmable button set up. If you hit it twice, it'll turn on the torch light. Hit it once, open a chat app, and I think you can also configure it for long press. It's no secret that this is a thick phone. While I think the 5G antenna probably did force it to be a little bit larger, I also think they use a lot of the space for storing a larger battery. I believe it's about 4,000 milliamp, which lasts up to 3 days of charge. It was probably about 2.5 for standard usage, which basically makes this like a battery store. That's really impressive. Now, you might think this is heavy, and in fact, I think if you threw it at someone, it would hurt. But let's see how much it actually weighs. I have a scale right here. And if we set it on here, all right, 209 grams. I also have my old iPhone right here, the XS. This is the smaller size for the full screen iPhones. I also have an OtterBox on it. I'm going to keep this on here when measuring the weight because it's going to make the durability comparable. This phone has lived the majority of its life inside of this. And despite that, you'll see it still has a cracked back, which is honestly one of the reasons why I'm really tired of Apple nowadays. All right, let's see the weight. 219 grams, so about 10 grams heavier than the Jelly Max. This is the smaller phone. I was actually thinking this would be heavier, but it's not. All right, so this is the keyboard of the Jelly Max. It's a little bit larger than the Jelly Star, but it's still very usable. Now, if you look at the icon on the top left-hand side, it's mostly reachable with one hand, but you'll also find that because it's right next to the camera, there's a little bit of a dead zone. So sometimes when you're trying to hit it, it won't react at all. The best part about a keyboard this size is that you'll be able to use the tips of your fingers for typing. You won't be fat thumbing it, and that'll help with the accuracy when you're typing. As I'm using the phone right now though, I'm also noticing I'm unintentionally holding the phone with my other hand to help support it. That does mean the phone isn't quite as small as I was hoping, but it's still totally usable with one hand. It's just a little bit easier to type with both though. For the system, it is definitely running Android 14 and it runs it well. Performance is nice. I don't know if they're going to do any updates for this, but we can hope. Let's take a quick look at how good talking heads sound. Game sack. Everybody likes some game sack. This is what it looks like in landscape, full screen.
Hello and welcome to GameSack. Sony, as you know, is the maker of the PlayStation line of consoles, as well as many of the games for them. They also make like electronics and stuff. And as you probably know, Sony was trying to get in with Nintendo.
That's how you know it's the actual speaker.
But did you know that Sony published a ton of games for several different consoles before the PlayStation?
Sounds great in my opinion. Not the stereo that I thought it would be, but the speaker is relatively nice.
So let's take a look at all of their games.
Let's check out Genshin. I also want to show a little bit of the performance of the phone. I think Genshin Impact should work pretty well. It's a little bit older of a game, but it's a good show of CPU and large world building. Let's try this. Wow, anime games are annoying sounding. Okay, so seems to work fine in this phone. Not really sure if the graphics are any worse. Oh wow. Can I get some enemies? So the performance seems fine with the Genshin Impact. This isn't the newest game in the world anymore, but I know a lot of people used to use it for, what am I doing? Ouch, oh, I had to attack, okay. Pokemon Go works as well. I'm not going to show in this video, but for basic 3D games, it seems to have pretty good performance. I'm not seeing any dropping right here. And yeah. All right, going into the camera of this beast, it is a little bit crazy. It's definitely higher megapixels than some of the older iPhones. Can't compare it to the new ones because I don't actually have any of them, but the quality varies a lot between situations. If you want to take a look at the camera, I will show that from here. Keep in mind that the built-in camera app can glitch a bit. Hopefully that gets fixed with an update. And I think you might have even seen it on screen right there. If you use a third-party app, it doesn't seem to glitch as much, but when you're using a third-party camera, you can't actually switch between the telephoto lens and the normal one, which is unfortunate. I did some talk with the creator of the ProShot app, and they said sometimes that's blocked on specific phones in their firmware. Let's start off with some outside shots. It was raining a little bit, so that adds some interesting ambience. Nothing too crazy, looks fine. And this is the front-facing camera. Well, the zoom. With this kind of stabilization. Let's see what it picks up for the animals. A little bit of jelly effect. This is the iPhone, no jelly. A little bit more stable with the front-facing camera. Oh, you on it. And this is my camera. See how it looks? And it's got the animals in comparison. And this is the front-facing camera. Well, the zoom. This kind of stabilization. Let's see what it picks up for the animals. Here are some photos of some Japanese monkeys. I'm going to be taking this with all three of my cameras and compare, as well as use the telephoto lens on the Unihertz phone to see what it looks like. Notice the blue sky. The Unihertz aims for a very particular blue in the sky at the fault of all the other colors. The greens will become a little bit yellow. But what you'll also notice is when you zoom in on the image, there's a way more detail than there is on my iPhone. Not quite as high as the Sony actual camera. Here is another example. Notice the blue sky with the not quite normal green trees. The iPhone is a little bit darker and also does a similar thing with the blue sky. And my actual Sony camera blows out the sky. This is most likely because the computational photography tries to keep the sky in the picture, while the Sony is literally just the actual photo data. And here's one more example of using the photo lens versus using the normal lens. This will give you an idea of just how much it zooms in. It's not a lot, but when it's useful, it's useful. It also takes some nice photos of food. And the nighttime photography isn't that bad. And this is the low light performance. Hello. Good boy. Let's go. But you'll notice you have to be very thoughtful about the focus, as well as in some circumstances it will just give very strange color tones. So in the end, I really like this phone. This is going to be my main driver for now. It has a lot of trade-offs, but comparatively to the Jelly Star, I think normal people could actually use this. This is a good general phone, and I would recommend anyone who wants a smaller phone, who doesn't mind some small trade-offs, it works great. The camera is has higher resolution than my iPhone XS, which was unexpected. You have to be careful. It takes a little bit more time to get focused with your pictures, and the colors might be a bit weird, but the photos are really nice, honestly. And if you're just using this for taking pictures of documents, it's going to go much easier. And the low light performance isn't that bad either. This is impressive for what it is. This isn't the small phone that I was hoping for, something similar to the iPhone 13 mini, but this is still much better than almost anything else on the market for someone who's looking for something like this. If you like, say, the Asus Zenfone, that I do not consider a small phone. It's small for an Android phone, but it's not this small. It doesn't have these dimensions. And when you have it in your pocket, it's relatively comfortable. The lack of waterproof sealing is disappointing, but what are you gonna do? I got this phone for about $200, which is a really good deal for what this is if you opted in to pay for it early in the Kickstarter. I would not trade this phone for the newest iPhone, the newest Pixel, because they're just too stupid big. Now, if you have extra money to burn, you could use one of those foldable devices, but those are gonna cost you maybe 2-3 times as much as this phone. You're gonna have to be cradling it, you're gonna have to be very careful. When it breaks, you're out of some money. So I give this 3 out of 5 bidders because of the bugs in the camera. I'm a little bit more disappointed. If those are fixed, it's about 4 out of 5. If you want a small phone, you will not regret this. This is great. So next time I'm going to be doing a review of my Sony camera that I'm actually recording on right now. I hope you're all looking forward to that. Please leave suggestions in the comments section about things I should cover in the future. I will get back to the Linux phones. I've been a little bit busy. I had a son born a couple of weeks ago, so I'm sorry for the lack of updates. Thank you everybody, appreciate you all being here. Catch you later.